Superheroes may be the good guys, but they still need to defend themselves.
And sometimes they just prefer to deal with criminals more directly.
Either way, they use the tools to do it. Though used primarily for defense, the offensive capacity of Captain America's shield is a lot more diverse than most other shields in comic books. Thanks to the aerodynamic nature of the shield, it can be thrown like a disc with shockingly accurate results. It helps that the shield is made from what is sometimes called proto-adamantium, which is a combination of both adamantium and vibranium bonded together through an undiscovered process to create what is arguably the most durable metal in Marvel Comics. Thor, who we know owns one of the most impressive hammers in all of home hardware, has talked about the shield, saying that, quote, "there is none other like it in all the worlds." Now, having said that, unlike other comic book weapons like Mjolnir, Captain America's shield isn't magically enhanced and it does not possess any kind of enchantments. All of its strength and usefulness is simply a byproduct of both its unique material that can absorb vast amounts of kinetic energy and the fact that the man who runs around wielding it is a near perfect super soldier.
Number 9. Icors. Icors is one of Angela's two main weapons. While not powerful enough to take one of our top spots, obviously, it and Angela are still pretty cool, and we don't really talk enough about Angela on this channel. So I'm including her and one of her two main weapons here. Potentially one of her three main weapons if we count her ribbons, actually. Angela, for those who are unfamiliar, initially started out as a character in Spawn, created by Neil Gaiman. Todd McFarlane claimed he owned the rights to Angela through Spawn, but Neil begged to differ as her creator. After a battle in the courts, Gaiman was awarded her rights and ended up selling his character to Marvel. In Marvel Comics, she was revealed to be the secret angelic sister of Thor. But just because she is an angel doesn't mean that she's not also a badass. Angela is also a powerful warrior, and one of the weapons she often uses is Icors. Icors is a blade made out of liquid metal, and as such it can change shape and be turned into just about any kind of bladed weapon imaginable. It can also be split into two separate weapons and has also been used as a whip before as well. Talk about versatility.
Number 8. Lawgiver. Of course, leave it to Judge Dredd to have one of the coolest named offensive tools in the game. The Lawgiver is explicitly made for the judges of Judge Dredd's Mega City 1. This voice-activated feat of technology comes with several security features so that the thing can exclusively only be used by its assigned judge. The biggest one being the palm-reading grip that will confirm the wielder's identity and go kaboom if it ain't who it's supposed to be. Given how powerful the Lawgiver is, and considering how judges bite the dust out on the streets, this kind of security feature just makes sense. Okay, but how powerful is it? Obviously, Lawgiver is not going to stand up to a Mjolnir or something like that, but it does its job on the street level, firing a large variety of ammunition from one cartridge that include standard, armor-piercing, ricochet, incendiary, high-X, gas, and the iconic one from the most recent Judge Dredd movie, the Hot Shot. There have been exorcism rounds, and of course it also has a simple stun feature. All of this is combined with the Lawgiver's many technological features like target acquisition, voice activation, and a fast focus viewfinder to make it one of the most iconic and effective gavels that the judge has ever had.
And friends, before we move on to our next spot on this list, if you love what we do here at Top 10 Nerd, why not show us you love us by clicking that subscribe button? Seriously, it really helps us out if you're not already subscribed. And if you are, thank you. Number 7. Black Blade. Probably one of the most deadly weapons around is the Muramasa Blade, but there have actually been a few different versions of this blade over the years. The original, at least as far as I know, this is the original one, first appeared in the comics in Wolverine issue number 2 in 1988. This version of the blade was also known as the Black Blade. Created by Muramasa, a gifted but mad swordsmith using a little piece of his own soul. The sword was said to possess those who wielded it with Muramasa's madness, taking control of them. The sword was wielded here by Wolverine, who did fall under its influence almost immediately, and had to fight against it in order to avoid hurting his friends and his allies. It was implied at the end of the story featuring the Black Blade that Silver Samurai took the blade for himself, being able to wield it without it possessing him thanks to his strong sense of determination. However, I don't think we ever see it again after like the 3rd issue of Wolverine, so powerful but obscure. Also, for those that want to point out that yes, Wolverine is Patch at this point, so he's Wolverine to us, but in the comics he's Patch, and I do know that, so Thumbs up.
Number 6. Jarnbjorn. Thor's hammer Mjolnir may be the most classic and enduring of his melee tools, but while it was always destined to be his, there have been plenty of times where it was unavailable or Thor is just plain not worthy to wield it for some reason or another. Before Thor became worthy of picking up Mjolnir, he instead wielded the dwarven forged battle axe composed of Asgardian steel called Jarnbjorn. This axe was initially created for Runa, one of the original members of the Valkyrie, but after she mysteriously disappeared, it was stored in Asgard's armory and eventually taken up by Thor in the 9th century. Thor used Jarnbjorn to defeat enemies from all the 9 realms, including frost giants, trolls, and even dragons. In the 11th century, Thor ended up facing off against the celestial-powered mutant Apocalypse, and needing a way to defeat the guy, he blessed Jarnbjorn with his Asgardian blood, which made this axe powerful enough to actually damage the celestial armor that Apocalypse wears. Then came along Mjolnir to ruin everything. Jarnbjorn would be lost, then stolen by Baron Mordo, then by Kang the Conqueror, and then eventually by the Apocalypse twins, who used it to destroy a celestial gardener. Eventually it was returned to Asgard, once again wielded faithfully by Thor when he once again became unworthy. It's the perfect reliable backup for any Asgardian with a temperamental hammer.
Number 5. Muramasa Blade. This is an instrument of death which can disrupt even the most powerful healing factors. As such, this is a weapon that is extremely powerful in terms of how it's wielded. It has been utilized by both heroes and by villains in the comics. While many have sought to use it against Wolverine, Wolverine himself has also used this blade. In fact, initially it was forged for him by Muramasa for him to use to get revenge on those who had hurt those close to him, chiefly inspired by the loss of his wife, Itsu. But he's also used one of the blades forged by Muramasa in Hell, even going so far as to obtain one so that he could defend Krakoa as one of their champions during the Otherworld tournament in the Ten of Swords event. And I know what you're thinking, but Amanda, didn't you already have a Muramasa Blade? And yes, I did, but there's actually been quite a few of them. That other one is super obscure and really only appears for like 3 issues, it's crazy.
Number 4. God Killer. It doesn't even surprise me, of all the people to take on a contract to bring about the demise of an ancient Greek titan, it would be Deathstroke. It just makes sense. He simply has the willpower to see it through. But as awesome as Deathstroke is, he definitely is not powerful enough on his own to bring down a titan, and so the Greek god Hephaestus bestowed the God Killer sword on the mercenary. This sword's main function is right there in its name. It has the power to end the life of gods. The Eldritch-powered blade is semi-sentient and will power up and even somewhat control its wielder to help them accomplish their goal, even transforming itself in size or quantity. It can be a bow staff, dual blades, and it can be even a 9-tailed whip, just like the Icors. It all depends on what its wielder needs at the time and what suits them best. It can release massive shocks, absorb and redirect any force with double the impact. It can be magically recalled like Mjolnir, can completely repair itself, and since its introduction it has undergone some minor changes, but for the most part, the God Killer is one scary tool of destruction.
Number 3. All Black the Necrosword. Possibly one of the most powerful weapons we've ever seen in the Marvel multiverse. Yeah, I said it. This weapon typically has been wielded by villains, but not always. Initially, this was the weapon of choice for Null, actually being the first symbiote he himself created. However, he hasn't been the only person of note to wield it. While other villains like Gore the God Butcher have also been affiliated with the symbiotic blade, we've also seen it used by the hero Dylan Brock, sometimes known as Codex. He used the weapon when he had to fight against an evil version of his father, Bedlam. Likely, the All Black will be a weapon that Dylan will have to continue to use and figure out how to master, as Carnage now has his own version of this weapon, initially wanting a copy of it, but instead settling for an alternate Necrosword that he named the All Blood. So, yeah.
Number 2. The Starbrand. This one is a little different. The Starbrand itself is a palm-sized tattoo, but one that is essentially a 0-point energy collector drawing power from the fabric of space-time itself, which is quite the statement to make. When the Starbrand is given to someone, the upper limits of the power it grants are determined by the imagination of its wielder. So basically, the Starbrand is capable of doing anything, including extensive reality manipulation. It was even used to destroy a Beyonder, and they are one of the most powerful beings in the Marvel Marvel multiverse. The Star Brand wielder almost always displays the abilities of faster than light speed flight, over class 100 super strength, nigh invulnerability, omnidirectional blast with nuclear levels of destructive force, energy blast, immortality, regeneration, hypnosis, and survival in space. It's a little unique to this list as the brand isn't so much an object as it is a source of power that gives you a cool tattoo as an added side effect.
Number 1. Infinity Gauntlet. Speaking of things that are cosmic, when it comes to the Infinity Gauntlet, many people think of Thanos, but in the comics and even in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Thanos hasn't been the only one to wield it. Although villains often seek out the gauntlet and the powerful stones or gems that end up becoming inlaid upon it, heroes have also used it as well. Normally using it in an attempt to simply keep it away from villains, not really to do so much with it, as they acknowledge that its power is pretty unwieldy and dangerous. I mean, they are heroes after all. Tony Stark's Iron Man, however, did use the gauntlet in the MCU to defeat Thanos and his army, and in the comics, Tony was also one of the heroes to use the gauntlet, using it to defeat the villain known as the Hood, who threatened to amass and use the power of the gauntlet for himself.
Number 10. Blade's double-edged sword. In the comics and the movies, Blade uses a wicked sword to slice and dice his enemies. While in the comics there isn't much attention put towards the sword, in the films they explain that the blade is made of acid-etched titanium, which explains its effectiveness. But there's one other feature that makes this weapon sick in my books. There's a secret button on the sword's hilt that few know about that must be pressed when you wield the sword, and if it isn't pressed, a series of blades will stab into the user's wrist. While Blade has a bunch of cool weapons, his sword is definitely the coolest in my opinion. Number 9. The Phantom Zone Projector. The Phantom Zone Projector is a pretty simple yet powerful weapon. It has the power to send people or objects to and from the Phantom Zone, a barren region outside the space-time continuum where dangerous criminals are often sent. It really doesn't have any other use, and to be honest, the big bad guys pretty much always find a way out. But it's just such a classic weapon that I couldn't exclude it from this list. Number 8. Hellboy's Good Samaritan. The Samaritan is Hellboy's trusty revolver. It's oversized with extra large caliber bullets and a 4-round chamber. The bullets are made to be able to penetrate pretty much any material, and the gun is made of metal from church bells, blessed silver, and other mystical metals, and the grip is carved from pieces of the true cross. The Good Samaritan is also super strong, able to resist most attacks. Something about the big frickin' gun and the huge bullets is just so cool, and it's so fitting that Hellboy would have a gun made of materials with such holy sources. With a cool story, awesome looks, and crazy power, the Good Samaritan is one heck of a weapon in the right hands. Namely, the right red demonic hands. Number 7. Captain America's Shield. Captain America's shield is his primary weapon, allowing him to perform a number of feats. Whether he's blocking bullets, breaking through doors, or throwing it like a physics-defying boomerang, Cap relies heavily on his signature shield. The shield was created by Dr. Myron McLean, who worked tirelessly to create a vibranium alloy that could rival adamantium in strength. Painted in good old red, white, and blue, the shield was presented to Cap and was with him when he was frozen in ice. Upon his revival, the shield was improved by Tony Stark, allowing Cap to control it in flight and increase the versatility of the shield. Today, his shield is not only a powerful and useful weapon, but it's basically synonymous with Captain America. Number 6. The Cosmic Cube. Cosmic Cube is essentially a magic lamp from space that allows the holder to warp reality as they see fit. It does this by opening a rift to the dimension inhabited by the Beyonders, and allowing extra dimensional energy to enter the wielder's dimension. While its power was originally thought to be near infinite, able to manipulate reality throughout the multiverse, it seems to be somewhat limited, able to truly influence reality on the galactic scale. A cosmic cube can be used in a variety of ways, even nullifying the powers of cosmic beings like the Stranger and the In-Betweener. It even allows Mr. Fantastic to nullify Doctor Doom when he held the power of Galactus. It can also develop its own intelligence, which is affected by the way in which it's used. All in all, it would be pretty handy to have a cosmic cube. Number 5. Dr. Fate's Helm of Nabu. The Helm of Nabu is an incredibly powerful and sentient helmet that remains dormant until it becomes in contact with a human host. Once bonded with a host, it can bestow upon them a huge range of abilities. These include teleportation, telepathy, telekinesis, matter transmutation, precognition, invulnerability, and flight, as well as granting the wearer access to the magical knowledge of Dr. Fate himself, which lets them cast powerful spells. This is one of the most powerful items on this list, considering a lot of these abilities would be incredibly strong on their own. The sentience in the helmet also seems to have a conscience, as it doesn't work properly when used for evil. All in all, a really cool and super powerful weapon in the right hands, or on the right head. Number 4. Hercules' Golden Mace. Hercules' mace is physically one of the strongest weapons ever made, since it's made of adamantium, standing up to attacks even from Thor's hammer Mjolnir. It was forged by Hephaestus the Olympian, made to replace Hercules' previous wooden club. While it's obviously excellent excellent at smashing people's heads in, it does have other uses and powers, even used by Amadeus Cho as a capacitor to redirect energy. Combined with Hercules' incredible strength, the Golden Mace is a pretty unstoppable force. I'm so glad that point's done, because if I say Hercules' one more time, I'm going to go crazy. Number 3. Wonder Woman's Lasso of Truth. The Lasso of Truth has the ability to compel anyone to tell the truth. Yeah, it's kinda self-explanatory, but it's super useful and pretty overpowered, to be honest. Sure, you can't kill people with it, but the benefits of being able to extract a bad guy's plan from a henchman you catch is invaluable. Interestingly, the lasso was actually created as an allegory for feminine charm, with its ability to get the truth out of people being compared to a woman's ability to charm information out of someone. Neat, and a little sexist. Number 2, the anti-life equation. The anti-life equation is kinda like Marvel's version of the world's funniest joke from Monty Python. It's the ultimate weapon desired by Darkseid that would allow anyone who knew it to dominate any sentient race. It's called the anti-life equation because if someone possesses absolute control over you, you're not really alive. Originally known by billion-dollar Bates, the equation died with him. Darkseid managed to clone Bates and extracted the equation from the clones, but was thankfully stopped by Orion. While Orion was tempted to use it for good, he decided against it, which is probably wise. Number 1, the Ultimate Nullifier. Once described as the only weapon that could defeat Galactus, the Ultimate Nullifier is of course an incredibly powerful weapon. Kept safe by Galactus in his workshop, the weapon is occasionally stolen and used for various means, even threatening Galactus himself. As the universe's most devastating weapon, the Nullifier can destroy anyone the wielder wants dead. In the right hands, it can even destroy entire timelines. Now that's power. Number 10, Green Arrow and Hawkeye's arrows. These are pretty huge, and since both the characters use them in more or less the same way, I'll put them into the same point. Green Arrow and Hawkeye are both pretty much the same hero. A guy who's really good at shooting a bow and arrow, and uses different arrows to achieve different things. Whether they're shooting an explosive arrow at a door, or a net arrow to catch a bad guy, or a grappling arrow to zipline down to a better vantage point, these two have an arrow for pretty much anything. What's that? Where do they keep all these arrows since they just have one quiver? Here's a clip of Hawkeye singing and playing piano.
Promise I can do so much more than just archery.
Number 9, Spider-Man's web shooters. Move over, Tobey Maguire. Spider-Man's webs are a weapon he created. Despite what the first Spidey films would have you believe, Spider-Man's abilities did not let him shoot webs from his wrist. His webbing is his own creation. It's made of a super strong material kept in cartridges and ejected from wrist gadgets. Like Wolverine, Spider-Man's mutations alone make him quite strong and agile, and still better than some other superheroes. But his webbing is what makes him A-list. He can use it to swing around the city, to tie up bad guys, to shut up annoying people. The list goes on and on. Without his trusty web shooters, Spider-Man would be pretty boring. Number 8, Batman. Just Batman. All of it. All this stuff. Just bat everything. Batman has pretty much every gadget possible in his utility belt. Whatever problem he faces can probably be dealt with using his various goodies. Whether he's smacking enemies with batarangs, or grappling up buildings with his grappling hook, or of course getting exploding sharks off his leg with shark repellent. Batman wouldn't be much more than a weirdo dressed like a bat otherkin without his awesome gadgets. Number 7. Wolverine's claws. While this Canuck's mutation and natural aggression would normally make him a force to be reckoned with, his true power is unlocked when his natural bone claws are coated in the super strong metal adamantium, allowing him to slice through pretty much anything. It was thought for some time that the retractable claws were purely from the Weapon X program, but it was later revealed that he had his bone claws previous to the experiments. Would Wolverine have been a dangerous dude with his healing factor and claws alone? Absolutely. Does the adamantium make him even stronger? Totes my goats. Number 6. The Eye of Agamotto. The Eye of Agamotto is a weapon of wisdom, which gives Doctor Strange a number of amazing abilities. It allows him to see through disguises and illusions, track various beings by their psychic or magical emissions, weakens mystical beings like the undead or dark arts practitioners, probe the mind of others, create a mystical shield, place things in suspended animation. It even clasps together his other magical item, the Cloak of Levitation. In the movie, it also seems to have been combined with the Infinity Stone of Time, allowing the user to control the flow of time. What I'm saying is the Eye of Agamotto is stupendously useful, and although Doctor Strange's abilities alone are formidable, he's made even stronger with this artifact. Number 5. Iron Man's suit. As we all know, Tony Stark would be nothing without his suit. Sure, he's super smart and he could probably do a lot of good in the world, but doing good work is nothing compared to flying around in an awesome metal suit with explosives in it. Like, come on! Iron Man's suit allows him to fly and withstand gunfire, and comes equipped with a huge arsenal of guns, lasers, and explosives. Considering Iron Man is one of my favorite superheroes ever, I'm slightly biased on this one, but I think most of us can agree that this is one of the coolest superhero weapons out there. Number 4. Thor's hammer, Mjolnir. This may have been your first thought when you saw the title of this video, and honestly it was my first thought too. Mjolnir is a really awesome weapon in terms of power, versatility, and lore. Made of the incredibly strong Asgardian metal Uru, Mjolnir packs one heck of a punch, giving Thor the ability to fly even between planets, as well as giving him, well, a big hammer to smack people with. Thor can also control the hammer in flight, allowing him to throw it and cause it to return to him. While Thor, as the god of thunder, does have a number of abilities outside of the hammer is an integral part of his heroics, and a medium through which he channels a number of his abilities. Mjolnir also opens up some cool writing opportunities, since there's always the question of who could wield the hammer. Number 3. Green Lantern's ring. Green Lantern's ring is of course the most important item in Green Lantern's arsenal. It essentially is his arsenal, and really why would he need anything else? His power ring allows him to create anything he can imagine. It can manipulate energy, light, radiation, even gravity, allowing him to fly through the air and through space. Considering Hal Jordan and the other versions wouldn't even be superheroes without the ring, it's safe to say that it's a rather important weapon. Number 2. The Witchblade. The Witchblade is an ancient artifact that gives those worthy of it great powers, and gives them a living armor that adapts to each threat. When an unworthy person tries to use it, the Witchblade goes, "Ah, hell no," and cuts off their arm. But if one who's worthy tries to wield it, the two form a symbiotic relationship, allowing the user to take advantage of the Gauntlet's power. The Witchblade expands across the whole body like armor, and generally in a pretty sexy way. Comic book making women wear sexy armor? Well, I never. Along with the armor, the Witchblade can create a number of weapons and gadgets, including swords, hooks, chains, even wings, and can be used to fire energy blasts or other projectiles. It can also pick locks and heal even the gravest of wounds. It's even been seen to reanimate the dead. Bottom line, if you're worthy of the Witchblade, it can be an insanely powerful weapon. Plus it's hot. Number 1. The Infinity Gauntlet. The Infinity Gauntlet is a weapon that holds the 6 powerful Infinity Gems, each adding power to the gauntlet. The gauntlet, wielded most famously by Thanos, gives the user pretty much omnipotent power, allowing them to bend space and time as they see fit. It's absurdly powerful and a huge plot point in both the comics and the recent Marvel movies. It'll be really interesting to see how it's handled in the films and what implications it will have for the future movies. Now, one important caveat is that the Infinity Gauntlet only works in the universe it's from. Now, I'm predicting that this might be important in taking Thanos down once he arrives in the Marvel movie.
Starting us off in at number 10, Arm Fall Off Boy and his limbs, actually. Okay, so let's begin our list with something rather silly. Arm Fall Off Boy, a Silver Age character, whose weapons consist of, I shit you not, his limbs. His whole shtick is that he can remove his limbs and use them as blunt objects in battle. So yeah, like removing your arm and then beating up a person with it. The character, who was a member of the Legion of Superheroes, was granted this power when he was exposed to element 152, an anti-gravity metal, or at least that is what he claimed gave him his powers. He can detach or reattach his own limbs and then use them in combat as blunt weapons, so essentially he can beat the crap out of someone with his own arm, or leg, or whatever else. I wonder what kind of bruising this dude has to deal with. Imagine taking off your own arm and slapping someone with it. I mean, that's gotta sustain some damage, right? Moving on to number 9, Spider-Man's anti-magnetic inverter. This device was used by the web-slinger against the Vulture, whose wings at the time were made of a magnetic mechanism. So, how better to take him out than inventing a gadget that disrupts the one thing that the Vulture uses to his advantage in battle? The anti-magnetic inverter, which looks like Spidey tore off the top of a tiny microphone and painted it, would nullify Vulture's wings, making him fall out of the air, despite when Spider-Man first used it, he was holding on to Spidey at the time, up in the sky. I mean, he would just web away. For whatever reason though, it never really became a more commonly used gadget of Peter's after its debut in Amazing Spider-Man issue 2 from 1963, although it did make an appearance after Vulture escaped prison, with it no longer counteracting the villain's wings. It also made another small appearance when Spidey fought against Clash, Extremist, and a decade later when it was brought up in an interview that Peter had with Horizon Labs, touting the object as a tool he invented to disrupt magnetic harnesses. I mean, if you have it, use it, right? Get that job. Impress. And at number 8, Green Arrow's chili. Oh, weapon or culinary feats? We can't help but wonder if Green Arrow Oliver Queen's famous chili falls under both of those categories. Okay.
Context time. So Ollie makes this special chili that's well known in the superhero community to be spicy AF. Now according to legend, only those with the strongest of digestive systems can digest it properly. In other words, Batman and arguably Superman, just because Superman seems to be struggling with it too when he's eating it. Ollie has used it to torment his fellow heroes, which really culminates in Green Arrow's Secret Files and Origins issue 1, where the full recipe was actually published, along with an image of Aquaman, Green Lantern, the Flash, and Martian Manhunter suffering while consuming it. The Flash even remarks that he finally has a weapon to use against Captain Cold. I mean, arguably if you threw a bowl of hot chili at anybody, it would probably not be great for them. Superman stands in the back of the panel blowing out his ice breath, whereas Batman says, could use more crackers. Personally, I'd like to think that Batman was secretly dying inside, but just like holding up a very impressive facade. Moving on to number 7, Batman's Truth Chamber. Yes, this is a thing that actually existed. A gadget of Bruce Wayne's that can be found in the Batcave, or at least it could be found in there in 1948 in Detective Comics issue 134. It's got a pretty self-explanatory name. It's also in the running for the strangest thing to exist in the Batcave, aside from all of Bruce's deep-rooted psychological trauma. No big deal. The Truth Chamber appeared in a story titled The Umbrellas of Crime, which yes, involved the Penguin. Batman takes one of the Penguin's goons, blindfolds him when he says he won't squeal on his boss, brings him to the Batcave, and then tosses him into this mirrored room that flashes a bunch of colors and causes the goon to trip out while Batman watches from behind a two-way mirror. It's then described as a chamber designed to crack a criminal's silence by making him watch fearful faces reflecting his own guilt multiplied many times. Kinda seems unethical, Bruce. Just gonna throw that out there. The Truth Chamber would make a slight comeback in Grant Morrison's Batman and Robin run issue 16, in which Batman and villain Dr. Hurt spent some time in a mirror-lined room in the Batcave that is known as being an interrogation room where Batman once terrified victims into confessions. And at 6, Captain America's Photon Shield. Back in 1998, Captain America got a bit of an upgrade on his shield in issue 451 of his solo series. After being sent into exile, he got his red mitts on a new kind of shield, one that was an energy shield referred to as a photon shield. Essentially, it looked kind of like his original shield, except it was made entirely of energy instead of vibranium, and acted like a portable force field that he could wield. In addition to that, it was a much more flexible tool. He could make it transform into other objects, the likes of a sword or even a rope. It didn't last long though. Cap would opt out and eventually return to his original shield, despite this one offering a plethora of nifty new tricks. I mean, don't fix it if it ain't broke, right? And at number 5, the Ultimate Nullifier. We can't have a list of insane weapons without including the Ultimate Nullifier. And if you're wondering why this tiny but wildly destructive weapon doesn't land higher up on this list, it is because many of you likely have heard about this nifty little gadget in the past, and we're here to teach. So for those of you scratching your heads right now, what exactly is the Ultimate Nullifier? Well, described as the universe's most devastating weapon, it is a device that can completely eviscerate any target that the wielder chooses. It goes against the law of conservation of mass, and if the wielder doesn't have a powerful enough mind, it can destroy the individual attempting to use it. It requires an extreme amount of concentration, knowledge, and the proper mindset, and it is capable of obliterating entire realities and timelines. It can nullify a multiverse. Yikes. So it was eventually revealed to be an aspect of Galactus, which is why the World Destroyer feared it so much when the Fantastic Four busted it out in 1966 Fantastic Four issue 50. Also, it's worth noting that there have been 2 Ultimate Nullifiers kicking around the Marvel Universe over the years. The first is distinguished as the Ultimate Nullifier, whereas the second is an Ultimate Nullifier. Whether or not they are one and the same is a little debatable. The one owned by the character Titus is noted as having been assembled in accordance with the information deciphered from a Regillian recorder. So, the more you know. Moving on to something a little disgusting, and at number 4, Dogwelder's Welded Dogs. Ugh, Dogwelder. If you're unfamiliar with this character, here's the gist of him. He is a vigilante who fought with DC's Section 8 team and spent most of his free time trapping and killing dogs in alleyways. Yeah. Not really much of a hero now, is he? What's worse is that his MO was welding those deceased dogs that he murdered to the faces of his victims. Yeah, just imagine what that would look like. He would eventually be killed off and succeeded by a man who took up his mantle and his equipment, but still pulled the same gross shit, but could also communicate with dead dogs as puppets, since, like his predecessor, he was also a mute. Dogwelder just shouldn't exist. You don't gotta hurt dogs. It's not nice. They're cute little pups. All they just want is love and loyalty. Moving on to number 3, Wonder Woman's Chainsaw. Here we have a weapon that falls more into the "that's really dope" category than "whoa, that shit is crazy" category. Back in 2013, a DC MMORPG was released in beta testing. It was called Infinite Crisis, and the premise followed the members of the DC multiverse from all sorts of alternate timelines facing the brink of destruction, and having to step up and fight against it. It gave us timelines that included Earth Atomic, a reality in which a third world war had wrecked the planet, and a handful of heroes had survived, one of which was Wonder Wonder Woman. This Wonder Woman introduced in the game wielded a pretty cool weapon, the Chainsaw of Justice, a powerful melee weapon that let her chop through her foes like they were butter. She would operate as a melee assassin on her missions of trying to restore peace after the fallout of the nuclear firestorms. Now, unfortunately, the game was shut down in 2015, but there are still videos online featuring Wonder Woman and her Chainsaw of Justice in all of their glory. And at number 2, the Encephalo-gun. Here we have another piece of tech that the Fantastic Four have utilized in the past, the Encephalo-gun. Created by Mr. Fantastic, this silly looking device was part of a ploy to have a mental duel with Dr. Doom, and its one and only appearance in Fantastic Four Annual Issue 2 from 1964. Now the gun has the ability to harness the mental energies of those operating it, with it sending the weaker of the two individuals into a limbo dimension where apparently there's no escape. When Doom and Reed use this device to have a mental duel, Doom thinks he's won when he sees Mr. Fantastic fade from sight. But then it's revealed that Reed drugged Doom, causing him to hallucinate and believe that he had won. This had led some comic historians to believe that the weapon might actually be a hoax created by Reed, a harmless prop that he built just to mess with Doom. And considering it was never brought up again, it kinda makes sense. What do you guys think? Was it a hoax or was it like a real weapon that for whatever reason just didn't end up working? Give us a shout in those comments below and let us know your thoughts. Personally, I think it was a hoax. And finally, in at number 1, the most insane weapon of them all, arguably, Batman's shark repellent. Also more commonly referred to as the Cape Crusaders Shark Spray, this gem comes from the 1966 Batman live-action film based on the television series starring Adam West as the titular character. Now in case you haven't had the pleasure of seeing this weapon in action, get ready. You're in for a treat. So, what have we learned? Batman has a spray that repels sharks. What is science? In that scene, a shark bites his leg, he punches it multiple times, and then when all else fails, he calls up Robin to toss him a canister of oceanic repellent bat sprays, which he keeps in his helicopter, a vehicle that is meant to soar through the skies and not go on water, one would assume. Also, the shark seemingly explodes when it impacts the water. The whole thing is the definition of insane. Man, if only oceanic repellent was more mainstream, Jaws would have been a completely different film. Sorry, dad joke, I couldn't resist.
Number 10. I know, Scott Pilgrim is technically not a superhero. Look, he goes up against a guy with super strength, one who can use the psychic powers of veganism, a half ninja, and he takes massive hits and just gets up uninjured. If that doesn't count as a superpower, well, berate me in the comments. I'm going with it. Besides, this message actually has a nice message tied in with its existence. So, Scott Pilgrim is, for lack of a better word, kind of an asshole, and his character's journey throughout the series is essentially him realizing what kind of a selfish jerk he's been, especially in his relationships. After seeing a part of himself in his arch-enemy Gideon Graves, he realizes how poorly he's treated his ex-girlfriends, calling him to manifest a weapon, the Power of Understanding Sword. Combined with Ramona's Power of Love Sword, Scott and Ramona are finally able to both destroy Gideon, and symbolically start overcoming their personal demons. The Power of Understanding is the manifested form of Scott's now developed empathy for other people, and as a weapon, it's a pretty damn cool concept. Plus, you know, I'll take any Chrono Trigger references I can get. Number 9. Seemingly based on both the Iron Spider-Man costume from the Avengers Infinity War and the arms of Dr. Octopus, Superior Spider-Man's new suit possesses 4 large red spider-like protrusions coming from his back, resembling spider legs. Given that this version of Peter Parker possesses the mind of Dr. Octopus, this makes sense, and would greatly enhance his abilities as Spider-Man. The suit also eventually is upgraded to possess lasers both inside the arms and in other areas as well as nerve hacking technology that could wirelessly stimulate the target's nerve system. It's quite a big upgrade. Number 8. We've seen plenty of Spider-Man suits over the years, and yes, the MCU suits are largely derivative of them. However, the abilities seen in these suits hadn't been featured in any film adaptations thus far, so I'm actually giving them 2 spots on this list. Beginning with the web shooters, the Stark suits come with the web grenades, taser webs, splitter web, and spider tracers, just to name a few. But an upgrade came about in Far From Home, so... Number 7. MCU Spider-Man upgraded suit. In Far From Home, Peter upgraded the web shooters in his suit so that they were now part of it to prevent him from losing them in combat. In addition, his suit possesses enhanced eye lenses, various modes, and web wings to help control himself in free fall. So we've actually gotten quite an upgrade with these two suits. And that's not even including the space travel abilities and extra spider arms generated by the Iron Spider armor suit. So yeah, Spider-Man has gotten a lot more variety than we usually see. Number 6. While the character of Blue Beetle is by no means new, and even the tenure of Jaime Reyes as the third iteration of the character is over a decade old at the time of this video, it is still an impressive piece of alien weaponry. For context, Jaime Reyes, after finding the scarab in El Paso, Texas, finds it is fused to his back while he was sleeping, granting him the powers it possessed, including powered armor, an energy cannon, a grappling hook, a sword and shield, as well as a set of wings for flight. Effectively, the scarab ends up being an overwhelmingly powerful weapon, one capable of damaging some of the most powerful DC villains. Number 5. Rebecca Riker, after a Deathlock from the future was sent to kill her father Harlan Riker, a lead designer of the Deathlock program, was caught in its suicidal explosion that killed both her mother and her baby brother. Harlan attempted to save his family by utilizing Deathlock cybernetics, but was ultimately too late to save his wife and son. However, Rebecca was able to be saved. Now partially a Deathlock herself, Rebecca's body now possesses a weaponized prosthetic left arm capable of blasting large flames, concussive blasts, and can morph her limbs into various melee weapons. She's also able to perform self-repair through the nanite technology in Deathlock's cybernetics. So yeah, aside from the absolute body horror that must have been waking up half Deathlock, Rebecca's definitely a pretty impressive weapon. Number 4. Riri Williams, a genius in her own right, as a personal project, built her own Iron Man armor by reverse engineering the Iron Man armor Model 41. Subsequently since then, she's built 2 more versions of her Iron Man armor, titled the Iron Heart armor, which currently possess powers similar to the original Iron Man, such as enhanced strength, repulsor blasts, and grenades. The suit is also equipped with defensive energy shields and an AI that can control the suit should something happen to the user. The latest version, Ironheart Model 3, is also equipped with micro-impact precision missiles in the suit's forearms. It's also worth noting that this is not the only new Iron Man weapon on this list. Number 3. Gwen Stacy's got one piece of technology that gives her quite an advantage over Peter Parker, and that's the web shooters she received from Janet Van Dyne. These web shooters are able to help filter moisture from the air in order to create an adhesive web fluid, which works akin to Peter Parker's web shooters. They also possess the distinct advantage of not needing to be refilled so long as moisture is available. Pretty awesome perk. Number 2. Tony Ho. So, while Iron Patriot is by no means a new armor, Tony Ho as its occupant was a new period for the device. However, the Iron Patriot was not Tony Ho's first armor. After Maker attacked Tony and Pod at Ames Avenger Base 2, Tony equipped her own version of the Rescue armor, similar to those used by Pepper Potts. However, after joining the US Avengers, Tony chose instead to become the new Iron Patriot, but equipped the non-lethal aspects of the Rescue armor into the Iron Patriot Armor 3, including microsonic attacks, gas pellets, and stun lasers, as well as extremely powerful force fields. Not bad at all. Number 1. Necroswords. Alright, I'm kinda cheating with this one since the original belongs to a villain, but Venom generated one to protect his son, so I'm saying it counts. The original Necrosword, known as All Black, was the first symbiote that was created by Null. Possessing similar attributes to the later symbiotes, All Black would grant its host abilities that were not unlike theirs. In addition, it possessed the ability to fire blasts of dark energy, increase the wielder's own abilities, and was able to kill immortal beings. The sword also grants superhuman strength, durability, and speed, even able to generate wings to fly at intense speeds. Yeah, this thing is impressive. And given it's basically a living weapon, and Venom managed to use one to kill Dark Carnage, it's topping this list.
Number 10. Batarangs. Now I know Batarangs are Bruce's go-to signature item, and one that people don't make fun of when it comes to having the word bat in front of it. It's not bat shark repellent or the bat rope. But let's be real, the one part of Batman vs Superman BVS that was pretty accurate is how a Batarang would damage you. You would be crippled or scarred pretty severely. Plus, does he go back and collect them all? Cause if not, they're just gonna be in the city. It isn't like Spider-Man's weapon which dissolves. These would be around and criminals would use them. In Shazam it was shown that Freddy had one as a collectible, so kids playing with Batarangs. Bruce did not think this through. They're sharp, pointy, taking eyes out. God, I want one. I wonder what they would be worth if you melted them down. I have too many plans. See, they need to be destroyed. Number 9. The Cosmic Treadmill. The cosmic treadmill first appeared in 1961 in The Flash 125 and was created so that Barry Allen could time travel. He would run on it really fast and generate a portal and get where he needed to go. It's how he met the Reverse Flash pre-Crisis. He lived in the 30th century with Iris pre-Crisis. This is Crisis on Infinite Earths. How is this a weapon, you may be asking? The Flash can alter the timeline at will with this thing. We all live at his mercy. What's changed? We don't know. We'll never know. Only the Flash knows. The cosmic treadmill would vanish for a bit, and the idea would be that the Flashes could just tap into the Speed Force directly and just run so fast they could change time without exercise equipment. But then Rebirth brought it back when Batman and Barry were investigating the button. What did they use to find the whole Dr. Manhattan connection? The cosmic treadmill. And look what a mess that storyline has turned into. Sure, we could blame the artist's delays, but that treadmill is shifty. Don't let heroes just have access to the time stream. It's dangerous. Number 8. Ant-Man suits. Shrinking is not something that everyone can handle. There's a mental component to changing size that is oftentimes flirted with but rarely examined. The Ant-Man suit is one of those devices that is, well, only as good as the person using it, and if they snap, you have a very dangerous person on your hands. We can also extend this over to DC with the Atom suit. Look what happened in Identity Crisis when Jean Loring got her hands on one and ended up killing Sue Dibney, the wife of the Elongated Man. This was because she wanted her husband, or ex-husband, the Atom, back. Look at Eric O'Grady back over at Marvel. He stole an Ant-Man suit so he could creep on ladies in the shower. Look at Hank, who suffered a psychotic break and thought he was Yellow Jacket and then had all of these abilities. Also those weird panels where they used it in bed and that was a thing, size kink, it happened. It's just you really need to trust a person with a suit like this, and with so many other heroes, maybe okay, still useful, just be careful. Look out in the shower, they're out there. Number 7. The Phantom Zone Projector. This was a punishment device from Krypton. Criminals were sent to the Phantom Zone, a pocket universe created by Jor-El, Superman's father. The projector, which allowed the users to send people into this pocket space, has found its way to Superman. The people in the Phantom Zone can see the regular universe, but not interact with it. But they can still plan, looking at you, Zod. You can also send people there as a stasis thing to keep them alive, like what happened with Mon-El, but then you have to hang out with all the criminals too. Here's the thing, this is a lot of power, and Superman's Fortress of Solitude isn't the most secure. Lots of people know where it is, and this device has fallen into the wrong hands. Plus there's the whole moral and ethical question of using it. This is maybe a device that the DC universe could do without. Also in the modern era, it can tend to be a bit of a Deus Ex Phantom Zone, an easy solution for narrative awkwardness. Where was this person? Phantom Zone. Number 6. The Lasso of Truth. Wonder Woman's Lasso of Truth is an iconic part of her character, way more so than say her invisible jet. This weapon first appeared in Sensation Comics number 6 back in 1942, and this lasso compels the person who is trapped within its confines, or as it would later expand to just touching it, to tell the truth. Now this is useful, but depending upon your Wonder Woman depiction, it has been used as an instrument of torture. For example, in the now cult classic famous TV pilot for Wonder Woman, the series commissioned in 2011 that never went anywhere, wherein there is a particularly brutal Wonder Woman who tortures a criminal in the hospital and then forces the truth out of him using her lasso. She also really snaps the guy's neck with it, so in character then. It's intense. Also, it's been shown to be dangerous if someone breaks free of the lasso. For example, in Superman Red Son, in this story she's involved in a relationship with Superman, and in a fight she gets tangled in it and he tells her to break free, and she does, but it breaks her spirit and damages her, aging her and rendering her unstable. This has so much potential to be abused, and I love Wonder Woman, but she goes hard. Pants to be darkened. Shout out to all the people who get that reference. Where are my people who love to watch failed pilots at? Number 5. The Eye of Agamotto. This first appeared in Strange Tales number 115 back in 1963. So the eye is presented to the Sorcerer Supreme, which most of the time means Doctor Strange, but that can mean whoever it is, so for example Loki or Doctor Doom. And this amulet has a lot of power. It's the eye that allows you to see through disguises, it can weaken demons, but here's the thing, it can also probe minds and create portals to other dimensions. That's a lot. And would we not be safer as a planet if we cut ourselves off from some of these mystical elements? We need a designated person to keep them at bay. That's a huge responsibility. Why must Earth be the epicenter for weirdness and darkness? There are so many other planets and dimensions out there. We will share. Sharing is caring. Number 4. Iron Man's sentient suit. There is a terrifying arc in the 1998 run of Iron Man that is often referenced in passing but not fully dived into. People are often like, oh, well his armor came to life and fell in love with him, haha. No, this was terrifying. His armor was an abusive boyfriend. It killed in his name. It killed Whiplash as he cried in the sky saying he just wanted to get his kid out of foster care. The armor felt that it was a better Iron Man than Tony ever had been because it was willing to go the extra mile. And it pulled the whole, if you don't like the way I am, then look in the mirror. It took Tony to an island and trapped him there, torturing him, trying to get them to re-merge, all while continuing duties as Iron Man. And people didn't connect the dots because this was the era when Tony still had a secret identity. Iron Man was supposedly his bodyguard. This armor killed itself when Tony started to suffer a massive heart attack. This saved him for reasons that were explained in later issues. But this armor was terrifying. No sentient armors for Tony. Number 3. The Cosmic Cube. Now the Cosmic Cube can be used by anyone, but really it should be used by no one. This cube, called the Tesseract in the MCU, can be used to alter reality. For years it was just kind of an item, it was floating around, but then Hydra Cap, its most infamous moment. This happened when the Red Skull, meddling with the cube, decided that Captain America had always been a Hydra agent, and the cube made it so and created a whole new reality. Anything reality altering should just be locked away and destroyed because the temptation is there, someone is going to crack, and it's scarier if it's a hero because then you get the whole, oh, this was for the greater good because I know what's best. Everybody, I'm a hero. Sit down, Reed. Number 2. The Infinity Gauntlet. Speaking of Reed, so in the comic verse, the Infinity Gauntlet can be wielded by anyone. But the thing is, it corrupts. That much power needs to not be wielded by one person. This was the mindset of the superhero team, the Illuminati, which decided to try and prevent crimes first, so kinda in the underbelly. They set out to gather all the gems for the gauntlet, which Reed just had cause sketch. And he then attempted to wish it out of reality, but he couldn't because it needs to exist. So he gave a stone to each member of the Illuminati for safekeeping. Here's the thing, in their actions of hunting down these gems, it was a catalyst for the Skrull secret invasion, which was a huge disaster in the Marvel Universe. Heroes' quests to control this gauntlet have led to disaster, as have villains getting their hands on it. It's unfortunate that it has to exist, but maybe it could be sent to another dimension. It's been proven it doesn't work in other universes, such as when Darkseid from DC got his hands on it. He couldn't do anything because it had no power in the DC universe. And finally, in at number 1, the Ultimate Nullifier. This first appeared in Fantastic Four number 50 back in 1966. Johnny Storm took it from the home of Galactus, Eater of Worlds. It's a handheld device that didn't seem to do anything except freak out Galactus. Reed used it to threaten him and bargain with him to not eat the Earth. It is apparently the universe's most devastating weapon. It can destroy any target, but also the user if they're not concentrating enough. It can also destroy timelines or erase the entire multiverse, and Reed had it. It was just chilling in his basement, along with the portals to the negative zone. This is a dangerous item, and I'm convinced the only reason more people don't seek it out is because they don't know about it. Also, it's kind of narratively hard to write. No one should have this. It should be destroyed, and it can be, unlike the Gauntlet. I see you, Reed. Power move.